Growing up in the 80s was a time unlike any other. By the time the mid-80s rolled around, Horror Metal Sound's founders, Ken and Rich, were already avid horror junkies. And that's also when they discovered
heavy metal.
So you can imagine their excitement whenever their two favorite subjects collided. Well, now that we've brought this up, let's talk about 3 incidents where a metal song from a major band of that time has been featured in a classic 80s horror film. Our first single is from W.A.S.P, and the song is titled
Scream Until You Like It.
It was featured in the film Ghoulies II from 1987 and was released by Empire Pictures. Ghoulies II was the continuation of the first film, only this time the creatures wreak havoc upon a carnival. Director Charles Band elected not to helm the sequel, so his father, Lambert, took over the reins and created this cheesy creature feature.
Charles Band sold the rights to the film to Vestron Pictures. He did this because Empire Pictures was struggling financially.
A cast of grizzled vets, including Royal Dano and Phil Fondacaro, give the film some punch. But otherwise, this sequel pales in comparison to the original.
Unfortunately, the film is pedantic. But if you can stomach the lame story, the stop-motion animation is good enough to captivate the hardcore fan.
The single, Scream Until You Like It by W.A.S.P, features prominently on the film's soundtrack. The band members even appear in the video with the creatures.
There is an apocryphal story, actually, about a chap called Blackie Lawless, who plays for an American group called W.A.S.P, who supported us on tour. He has one of these things. It actually has a plastic chainsaw blade that comes out the front of it. And he has a firework inside, which, at a given signal from the appropriate whatever, I don't know if it's operated by somebody else. I think he operates it himself. The firework explodes, so you get this tremendous kind of, sort of, pelvic thrusting with this thing, and so up goes the firework. It's very spectacular. In fact, there is one case on record when it exploded the wrong way with, I think he had to be taken off to sort of not quite intensive care, but care anyway, somewhere.
The next hit single is from Bruce Dickinson, originally, and shortly after that, re-recorded by Iron Maiden. And that song is
Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
For the film, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5 from 1989, released by New Line Cinema. In 1989, Zomba, the American record label group owned by Sony Music, asked Iron Maiden's frontman, Bruce Dickinson, to write a song for the film, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Dickinson collaborated with veteran guitarist Yannick Gers to record a song that he claimed to have written in 3 minutes. The end result was the hit tune, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, and it was this song that blazoned the path to Bruce's solo album, Tattooed Millionaire. Iron Maiden's founder and bassist extraordinaire, Steve Harris, liked the track so much that he wanted to re-record it and put it on their No Prayer for the Dying album, released in 1990. It was a smart move because it became a #1 hit single in the UK and the only one to date for the band.
To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this song, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with it or that it's a bad song. It's just that because I've been a fan of their music since the 80s, and when I listen to a Maiden song, it's usually for the fantasy elements or the interesting arrangements or even the raw power and grit that Maiden songs have. But this song straddles a more commercial-friendly line, which I think is why it had a much broader appeal in the charts at the time.
The song was a perfect fit for the film, which detailed the plight of Alice and her unborn baby that had become a target for Freddy Krueger to be reborn again into the world. Although the ideas behind the plot are wild at times, the film received a mixed reaction from the critics, despite grossing over $22 million at the box office. Our final song is by the Ramones, titled
Pet Sematary,
which was featured in the 1989 film of the same name, and it was released through Paramount Pictures.
Although this is not a metal song, we're going to include it anyway, because the Ramones always had that same attitude as most metal bands during this time period. In fact, the song actually appears on the album Brain Drain, which was punk with a hard rock edge to it.
The video for the song is a mix of cute, creepy, and campy humor, which has the band walking through and performing in a cemetery.
And when the character checks into a hotel under the surname of D. Ramone, right? and then he turns on the radio and they play Rockaway Beach. And before he buries somebody, he goes in a pickup truck too. You can't say, "Hell, let's go" before they bury people.
This was also one of the better Stephen King adaptations, punctuated by superb direction from Mary Lambert.
I began my professional career directing music videos and animation. I didn't really consider myself at that time to be a director of horror films or a horror director, although I've always, all my life, really, really loved scary stories and scary movies. I was a little surprised when I realized I was being considered for a horror film at a major studio, but it was written by one of my very favorite writers of scary stories, Stephen King, of course, who I consider to be the Charles Dickens of our time. I read the script and it was like, wow, this is a great opportunity. It's a really great script. And so the rest is history.
So yeah, be sure to check out one of our next videos because we're going to talk about the rather surprising origin story of Negasonic Teenage Warhead and how that ties in with heavy metal.
And you are...
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic Teenage... What the shit? That's the coolest name ever!
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until the next time, sleep tight.